There's like a guy with a stick.
Guy with a stick?
Welcome to DedicationBlog. Where we have no idea what's going on.
Where we're going, what we're doing.
We don't know where we're going. And what we're doing is talking about business.
Business! You want business videos? Get business
Everyone's
videos.
always asking for business videos. But I feel like this is probably not going to be the most interesting business video because it's quite a, I don't know, boring subject.
Specific.
Yeah.
For a start, it's UK only.
Yeah.
Because we're not fully aware of the systems in Australia, America, wherever.
They're the only two countries. They're the only two
That anyway,
countries,
it's basically like UK, America, Australia.
Rest
no
of third world.
Yeah.
So it's UK specific, and don't take our advice on any of this.
If you're in court and you go, well, Chris and Si said so, like, no.
That's not going to hold up.
No.
Just get professional advice on any legal or accounting stuff or whatever. This is just
we are not trained legal people
seek
or accounting
professional
people.
help.
We don't know.
This is just a rough guide for people who, like us when we started, didn't really have a clue what they had to do in terms of the law and tax and stuff like that.
We should maybe say we're going to talk about how to set up a business legally, and the best way to do it. So like through sole trader or limited company, and kind of like just to give you an idea of maybe which option you want to look into.
Yeah.
Because it does depend on what you're doing. So
Yeah,
it might
it's not
just
one
give you
rule for
a
everyone.
slight bit of advice onto where to look a little bit deeper.
Yeah, exactly. Like go and do your own research after this kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's say you've got an idea for a business, whatever.
Like a dog washing business.
Like a dog washing business. That's your favourite example for some reason. We spoke about niche markets. That's a niche right there.
Dog washing.
So you've got your idea for your business.
Dog washing business.
And you want to start washing some dogs. Like obviously you could just go out and start doing it, but then when you start making money from that, you're going to have to pay tax on it, and people need to have like a name for your service, your company. But there's two different options in there. Basically, there are other options, but the main two options are you're either a sole trader or you're a limited company. There's other options like PLCs and partnerships and all sorts of things, but for the most part, they're going to be the only things that you're interested in when you're just starting out, when you're just one person. So like you're a sole trader, I do things through a limited company, so we can offer kind of opinions from both sides of things.
So the main reason is tax.
That's what it normally comes down to.
Yeah.
Which I'm going to do a separate video on the kind of tax I have to pay for company stuff and dividends and things like that.
Specific.
Like in a separate video. So we're going to briefly touch on tax here, but it's not going to be in depth. But yeah, the tax is one reason why you might choose between the two. Another one is just how it looks. Like a limited company generally looks bigger and more sort of professional. Yeah. And again, this depends on the industry. Like if you're a dog washer, people aren't going to care if you're a limited company or not.
Like it doesn't really
matter. Yeah.
And you can't be a sole trader and just add like LTD.
No.
You can't be dog washing limited if you're not a limited company.
No, you have to actually have registered as a limited company. So if you're just a sole trader, you don't have to use your own name. You can use whatever name you want. So A1dogwashers.com, whatever you want to call your business. I think you were just saying that there's no rules around like who can use what name.
There's no sort of like trademark on your business name as a sole trader. If you're registered as a sole trader and you are dog washers, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing dog washers is your business name.
Yeah, somebody else.
There is no protection over that, so that's why you get a lot of like A1 plumbers throughout the country, because there's no one's trademarked A1 plumbers limited.
Yeah, because there's not a company.
Yeah.
It's just a sole trade. It's just a trading as a name.
Which, if you've got quite a specific name, realistically, no one's going to copy it. But if you've got like an A1 plumbing generic name, there's no security over that.
Yeah, people will probably just copy it. Yeah. I don't know if you can trademark the name if you really wanted to. I don't think you can. You might be able to. I don't know. Again, seek advice if you're thinking of doing that. Yeah. So the two options: sole trader or limited company. We would say that normally it's a good idea to just start as a sole trader because there's costs involved in setting up a limited company. There's more paperwork. There's more hassle in general. What's going on here? There's people in a hay bale. Don't know. There's costs involved in setting up a limited company. The accounts and stuff are more complicated. It's just generally a bit more work. So unless you've actually got a reason to set up as a limited company, then just start off as a sole trader. And then at a later date you might switch to being a limited company, which isn't a big thing. Like, you can easily do that and keep the same name. Like, I kept the same name for my business, but just stuck LTD on the end of it when I formed a company. So, yeah.
So the first steps towards being a sole trader is you contact HM Revenue and Customs.
Yep, Inland Revenue.
And tell them that you are now self-employed via a sole tradership.
Which this can be while you're still employed as well. You're not telling them that you've quit your job or anything like that. You can be employed and self-employed.
You will pay Class 2 and Class 4 national insurance.
Yeah, there's more tax.
Just one of them.
Yeah, which I don't think it's too bad. Isn't it something like 5% or something like that?
Yeah.
National insurance for those Class 2s or something. But again, we'll go into tax later, I think. It gets messy, it gets complicated.
Yes.
You speak to HMRC, tell them that you're self-employed, which will register you for self-assessment, it's called.
Yes.
And basically, once a year, the tax year runs April to April, so 5th of April to the 5th of April. So once the tax year is finished, so once you're at the 6th of April, you can then submit your self-assessment, which is just basically a big form. It just says like who you are, what your company name was. I don't think it even asks for your sole trader name or anything, does it?
It does, but it's not. I think it's an optional.
Yeah.
Because you can, as a sole trader, you can operate under your name or a business name.
Yeah, you've got no choice.
So and you don't have to register self-employed and think of a business name.
No, you could just call yourself Joe Blogs, Dog Washers. Yeah. It's a big form that just basically asks about the money you've made in that tax year.
Yeah.
It seems a bit daunting at first, to be honest, but I filled it in for the first 2 years that I did it as a sole trader. You fill yours in, don't you?
The best tip I can give you is just keep good records.
Yeah.
Have spreadsheets, keep receipts.
Yeah,
if you're
you need to
like
know.
on a week-to-week basis on top of it, by the time tax year comes around, it's easy. You've got all the information you need. It's the people who, you see a lot of these people who just collect all the receipts for a year and then hand it to an accountant or something and go sort through all this. And he's got to then sort through...
And it costs you money to get an accountant to do it.
Yeah.
So the thing, my uncle pays, or I don't know if he still does, but he used to pay an accountant to fill his self-assessment in. And me and my dad, my dad's also self-employed, was like, you can just do it yourself. Like, it's not that hard. Although having said that, my dad does leave it till like the last minute every year. Like, usually gets like a letter through the post saying, you're overdue, like, please fill in your tax return. But yeah, I like to do it as soon as possible. I do it like in April, like as soon as it's possible, just because I pay a lot of tax, then I've got enough time to make sure I've got the money there. Because you fill it in basically anywhere between April and January, or the end of December, I think, and then you actually have to pay it at the end of January. So the 31st of January, I think, is the cut-off for when you've got to pay your self-assessment tax. And you might not have to pay any tax depending on how much money you've made. There's a personal allowance
cut off,
where if you make under, I think it's 10 or 11 grand or something like that, you don't pay any tax.
Which that's profit.
That's a good point.
So 10, 11 grand profit, not turnover.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And you can, which is great help. I, for the first couple of years, was under that.
Yeah, so you're not paying anything.
So it was sort of it was a good help in that you kind of, what money you've got, little money you've got in the business, you can still use for the business and still grow it without having to worry about that.
It makes it a lot simpler.
And even over that, it's only the money over that allowance.
Yeah, that's a good point. It gets kind of confusing, and maybe I'll go through that more in the tax video.
Yeah, but don't if you made 10 grand one year and then next year you made 20 grand, you're not going to pay tax on the whole amount.
No, it's only a bit above 10 grand. So back onto sole trader versus limited company then. What are the reasons that you might choose a limited company over sole trader then? Because sole trader is simpler, like we said, like it's less paperwork. You've still got to do your self-assessment either way. But with the company, you've then got company accounts to do as well, and corporation tax and other stuff. So the reason I personally formed a limited company, it was because I was using my trading name, if you like, my company name, although it's not actually a company at that point because I was still sole trader. Yeah, business name we'll call it. I was using that for my software, but I wanted to get a digital certificate. You know, people have seen like SSL certificates and things for some of my software so that it's more secure, basically. But the thing is, that pops up with like your company name when people launch the software. And because I was only a sole trader, they wouldn't grant an SSL certificate or a digital certificate to a sole trader name because like you said, other people could have that same name.
Yeah.
So they'd only do it for my own personal name, which I thought looked a bit too sort of small time for because I was getting some quite large customers interested in the software then. I thought if they run the software and it just comes up with just my name, they're going to be like, hang on a minute, this is just one guy.
Made by Dedication Chris.
Exactly.
Hang on a minute.
Yeah, it just looked a bit small time for the kind of people that were using the software. So that was the main sort of push for me to register as a company, was so that I could then have the company name with the LTD and everything on the digital certificate. It also happened to actually have some tax benefits as well. Not a massive amount, but it saved me a bit of tax. Although they're changing that in the budget that's just come out. They're changing that, so in a couple of years it'll end up costing me more tax.
Sweet.
Yep, sweet. Right, so any other reasons you can think of for being a sole trader over a company? Because that was company versus sole trader.
The one thing I would say with being a sole trader is you're not forced to have a business bank account.
Oh yeah.
A lot of business bank accounts to charge you for things like paying checks in.
Yeah, you take it for granted. As a personal bank person.
personal bank account.
Personal banking customer or whatever, you take it for granted that your bank account is free.
Yeah.
But when you're a business, they charge you for pretty much everything. So I pay like £10 a month now just to have like a couple of transactions going in and out of the account.
Yeah. So you'll have like a monthly charge, and then there's other charges for certain amounts that are paid in, or checks or whatever. So you're not forced to do that. You can be a sole trader with a company, with a business name, but then have a personal bank account still. You're not, by law, you're not forced to.
No.
Again, if someone wants to pay you in a check, they have to then write your name on the check that's on the bank account, not your business name.
Yeah.
You won't be able to. That's sort of the cut-off, is when you'll need a business bank account.
Yeah, you can't name your business, or you can't name your personal bank account as the business name.
Yeah.
Again, because anyone could have that business name.
Yeah.
It's not protected at all.
Which with a lot of online stuff, if you've got an online businesses and you've not got these like check transactions. I mean, checks are dying out anyway.
Yeah, people don't use checks.
But look into it, because there is like merchant bank accounts for online sales stuff. So it does get specific to your needs. But just if you're dog washing and people are paying you cash, then you're not forced to have a business bank account.
Yeah, you're fine.
The one thing, like the LTD in limited company actually means something.
Yeah, limited is the reason.
Yeah, and it's limited liability.
Yeah.
So if you're, I don't think you should be raising capital for your very first business. But if you are in a situation where
you own people.
Yeah, because as a sole trader, you are liable for any losses and debt.
Yeah, so like if you owed £1 million to one of your suppliers or whatever,
personally,
if you couldn't pay that, tough shit, you've got to pay that.
Yeah.
Whereas with a limited company, the limited means that there is a limit to how much you have to pay back.
Yeah,
like
your personal liability is less.
Yeah, I think it is useful though having a limited company if you're gonna be getting into a lot of debt essentially.
Yeah.
Which again, like you said, for your first business,
don't do it.
Yeah, you probably
don't do it. If your first business idea requires loans and venture capital, wait. If it's that good an idea, start something else. Learn, because you're going to learn so much in the first 2 or 3 years of business. You don't want to waste your best idea. And also, a lot of venture capital people that you speak to will probably be like, oh, he's not done anything in the past.
Yeah, they won't want to lend you money.
Can I trust him? So it's just going to die. So if you're in that position,
it's possible. Try and start with something where you don't, like the kind of things that we do, like software. I didn't need any money to start with.
Yeah.
You start like with the car detail and stuff. I suppose you had to put some money into the car detail and stuff, didn't you, for products and stuff for the online shop?
But it was, I further online once. Originally when I started, it was like a few £100 I had in my bank account.
Yeah.
That I'd spent on like car stuff and just made it work from there. Like reinvested.
Yeah.
And do it that way rather than going, I need 10 grand to even start.
Yeah,
because you don't know. I mean, this is again another topic, but you don't know if there's a customer base for it really, and you don't start borrowing money off people if you're not sure it's going to work as a business.
That's the thing. Like you say, for your very first business, you're quite sort of naive and you don't really understand exactly how everything works. Yeah. So it's not a good idea to owe a load of money for that. Like with the software, I started in my spare time and just gradually built up and gradually got to learn the market and learn how businesses work and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Without any risk. There was no financial risk at all.
No.
And like you said, it was only a couple £100 for you to start yours. So it's like, they're kind of the ideal scenarios. I appreciate not everyone can start those kind of businesses. You might have an idea that needs that kind of instant cash to start it up. But again, like I say, it's not ideal for your first one because you could get into a lot of trouble.
You can have a partnership without actually registering as a specific partnership.
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
But it gets
again,
if you're going into business with somebody, check it out because you want to at least get a contract signed
you need
up.
some kind of partnership contract.
You're not forced to have like a company partnership, but there is specific things you have to do. So if you are looking to get in business with someone else, just do a lot of research into that.
Yeah, it's probably worth just speaking to an accountant briefly. Like, you don't have to hire an accountant, but just have one meeting with them or something and just thrash out all the details.
Because when I had a partnership with a friend, and we were both self-employed, both doing our own tax returns, and we just wrote up an agreement between the two of us of this is how the profit's going to get split. So there was no kind of joint bank account or anything like that between the business.
No.
It was kind of like you can figure it out a little bit in that respect, but make sure you're legal.
That's the thing, that's the problem when you first start doing it. You're not quite sure how legal everything is, especially when it comes to tax and stuff. That's the main one, like we said at the start of the video. The main issue is tax, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So, if you're starting up your own new business, a new idea, start off as a sole trader probably. Again, it varies sometimes, but for the most part, just start as a sole trader, see how it goes, see if there's a reason for you to change to a limited company. There'll be less of a reason in a couple of years because, like I say, they're changing the way tax works. So one of the reasons that it was good to become a limited company before was it saved you a little bit of tax. Not much, but a little bit. But now that probably won't be the case. So yeah, unless you actually need to form a company, unless for your business needs it's going to look better or it's required, then you probably don't need to
start off with. But then further down the line, there is reasons and employing people and all that.
That's a good point. I don't know how it works if you're a sole trader, if you're employing people. I'm not sure. Because there's extra tax and PAYE implications and things that you have to do if you're employing people. So I don't know how that works.
It gets messy.
It gets messy.
Employing people. It
gets messy.
The other thing quickly as well is VAT. You're not forced to register to be VAT registered
until it's 75,000 or 80,000.
80,000 pound turnover.
Not profit.
And now again, if you're a business where you're buying a lot, if your purchases are quite high, then there is benefits to being VAT registered to claim the VAT back on the purchases. But again, if you're starting a small business, you're probably not going to be hitting that mark. But again, if you think you might be, speak to someone.
Yeah, speak to an accountant about
and they'll be able to tell you. But again, you're not forced to. So.
No, but like you say, it might actually be beneficial, for some people to register before that. I think we're pretty much done.
Yeah, if you have any questions in the comments.
Probably will. Yeah. I think that'll do.
Sweet.